What a beautiful day, Chicago. Arturas Karnisovas and Marc Eversley are gone. Talk about it right after this. Troy here. Follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Troy. Follow the show at Whole Lotta Bull. More importantly, Bulls have finally done it. Michael Reinsdorf has pulled in Arturas Karnisovas and Marc Eversley for a meeting and informed them that their services are no longer required. This statement coming from the Chicago Bulls, obviously quite a few hours ago now, but time zones and all that, working day here in Australia. So my first chance to get to this. The Chicago Bulls announced today that Arturas Karnisovas, Executive Vice President, Basketball Operations, and Marc Eversley, General Manager, have been relieved of their duties. Michael Reinsdorf said in a statement, Arturas and Marc have led with a deep commitment to the Chicago Bulls. These decisions are never easy, especially when they involve people we respect both personally and professionally. We are grateful for their dedication and the work they've put in over the past 6 years. At the same time, we have not had the success our fans deserve, and it's my responsibility to go in a new direction. This move is about positioning our team for sustained success moving ahead. I want our fans to know that I hear you and I understand the frustration. I feel it as well. I know this will take time, and I am fully committed to getting this right. At the Chicago Bulls, our focus remains on building a team that can compete at the highest level and ultimately contend for championships. We are committed to taking necessary steps to move the Bulls forward in a way that makes our fans proud. Well, I know what a whole bunch of Bulls fans out there are already saying. Well, if you want to keep the changes happening here, sell the team. Well, we all know that's never gonna happen. So hey, as much as you can pray to the basketball gods that Arturas kind of show that the Reinsdorfs are going to sell the Chicago Bulls, it's never happening. So why waste your focus and energy on something that's just never gonna happen? But hey, here's to Bulls Nation. We finally got rid of AK and Eversley. Did anyone ever see Eversley anyway? Like, he was a nothing here at this franchise. So the last bit of my Hennessy. Shout out to you, Bulls Nation. It's done. What a day! What a beautiful day! Like, for the now the next steps are, okay. Who's going to be, or what process are they going to put in place to find the new VP of Basketball Operations, and then what freedom are they going to give him in terms when it comes to Billy Donovan, who I believe Joe Cowley said that the Bulls are making that priority 1A and 1B on keeping in Chicago. Now, as far as I'm personally concerned, you bring in a new VP of Basketball Operations. You let him make the decisions on who the Chicago Bulls head coach is. That should not come back to Jerry Reinsdorf or Michael Reinsdorf. Now, they can say, like they did with Jim Boylan when Arturas took over from John Paxson. Remember, these guys wanted AK to keep on Jim Boylan. And then it got to the end of the season or what would have been the end of the season for the Bulls. And AK said bye-bye to Jim Boylan, and rightfully so. The same thing should happen here for whoever the new EVP, Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations, is going to be. They need to be the ones who make the decision on Billy Donovan. Now, we all know that Billy Donovan was getting highly touted and sought after by the University of North Carolina. That's my college team. And ultimately, they decided to go. They also couldn't wait for Billy Donovan to wait to the end of the season and make a decision on whether he wanted to be part of their program going forward. So they went in a different direction and hired former Nuggets championship coach Mike Malone, who, hey, as a North Carolina fan, welcome to Chapel Hill, Mike Malone, and let's see how much success he's got going forward with UNC. But hey, this is not a whole lot of Tar Heel. This is a whole lot of Bull. So naturally, Joe Cowley has, and like most other beat reporters, was pretty quick to put out an article about this. So, not surprisingly, who is one of the names that Joe Cowley wants to see the Bulls bring in? Tom Thibodeau, our old coach. And whether that's moving Billy Donovan up into a front office role and bringing in Tom Thibodeau as a head coach, or do you keep Billy Donovan as the head coach and bring Tom Thibodeau into a front office role? There's also been Joe Cowley has also mentioned the possibilities of Masai Ujiri, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, and former Chicago Bull Luol Deng. That would be a very interesting scenario there as a front court. Yes, it's been 3 weeks, but I am back. And hey, Patty, while you're in here, share some comments on what you think about this whole situation for the Chicago Bulls, being an outsider, being a Portland fan. Tell me what your thoughts are, and I'll pull them up on the screen. This is just like this really is just a glorious day in Chicago. Like we've been waiting for this for so long. They have made so many errors. Now the Caruso Giddey trade was not one of them, so shut the fuck up. Clearly, the last straw in this whole ordeal for AK was the Jaden Ivey trade and how that all played out. Now, for those who do watch Bulls Without Borders, you will know that I'm not a religious person. I believe you'd call it an atheist. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in Jesus. I give you the proof that any of that crap is real. And we'll leave that part of that. I've already gone through it on Bulls Without Borders. But it does appear to be that this whole Jaden Ivey fiasco was the final straw in AKME's tenure here with Chicago, which is lasted 6 years and probably lasted 3 years too many. Man, I got to be honest. Like I'm still perplexed that this has actually happened. Like I did not think that Reinsdorf was going to have the balls to actually make this move. So if I go silent in points of this, I'm generally just still in absolute shock that even more than 12 hours after the fact, this has actually happened. Arturas Karnisovas and Marc Eversley are gone. Way overdue. Reality is the last rebuild period showed signs that changes were needed but was ignored. AKME are personally responsible for that. Dorf finally manning up for a change. Absolutely. Like one of the first. Now as we all know that one of the first things that Arturas Karnisovas came in and said that he was going to build his team the right way. We had Wendell Carter Jr., we had Larry Markkinen, we had all those guys, and he was going to be building naturally through the draft. Well, then halfway through the first season in control, he ships off Wendell Carter Jr. to the Orlando Magic for Nikola Vucevic and gave up 2 first-round picks in the process. Not a great trade. And then eventually we made the changes in that offseason. We get in Alex Caruso, we get in Lonzo Ball, who they get a fine for tampering because that deal was announced 30 seconds into free agency. And it is what it is. It cost us a second round pick as well. The Larry Markkinen gets traded in the 3-way deal with Cleveland and Portland. Like we get Derek Jones Jr. and a protected first round pick, which may just finally convert to the Chicago Bulls this year, Matty, get on the phone to Tiago Splitter and tell him not to fuck this shit up, all right? Give us our pick. And then obviously we talk about Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso. We got in DeMar DeRozan, who we ended up giving up another first round pick for, which we ultimately got back in the Zach LaVine deal, which opened up us having all of our first round picks again. There's just been a lot of shit that AK has done. Like, hey, he's he people say, well, we're not going to give him credit for Marcus Bazelis falling into his lap. Well, you're still going to give him credit for actually taking him. Okay, you can hang shit on him for not taking the Derek Queen deal last year that New Orleans was supposedly offering to everyone. Well, reports are that the Bulls didn't actually receive that kind of offer. And hell, even if they did, it would have made giving up the 12th pick in the draft and you get the unprotected first round pick in this upcoming draft. Would I have done that deal? Yeah. Especially if your scouting department is not just looking at the current draft coming up or the draft that you're in, but the upcoming ones as well. They should know that this upcoming draft was a lot more deeper than last year's draft where we got Noah Rasenga, Noah Rasenga, we don't know where it's going to be yet. He could pan out to be absolutely anything. He could be a bust. He could be turned into an absolute high-level role player. He could turn into a star. We don't know. We just don't know. And anyone who wants to write him off just yet, just pump the brakes, all right? Just pump the brakes. I will state this. I understand if it isn't likely, but Billy taking the executive job should be considered. People forgot how good he is at recruiting, and that's one of the reasons why I was fully in favor of North Carolina going after Billy Donovan because, hey, he is a Hall of Fame coach for a reason, and part of his role as a coach in college, or part of the role as a head coach in college, is to recruit young players coming out of high school. So, in terms of doing that on an NBA level, though, Pats, I think Billy has openly said he doesn't know enough about the front office and how that works to be able to move into a front office position role. I think he just wants to stay with coaching, and probably why he was, by all reports, highly considering the North Carolina job. And apparently, from things I have seen online, had UNC gave him just until the end of the regular season, he would have taken the job. There was also those rumors going around that he was potentially looking to leave if Arturas Karnisovas and Marc Eversley were retained. And well, hey, they're not here anymore, so maybe that sways Billy's mind. Should be interesting. Now, a couple of other players, potential names for the Bulls front office position now. Bob Myers and Mike Dunleavy Jr. Now, Bob Myers was partly responsible for building that dynasty team. I mean, Patty, I'm sure you can fact check me if I'm correct, but if I'm wrong or not. But I don't think he was the one responsible for drafting Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, the core of that dynasty. I mean, sure, he was part of it when signing. Yes, take the damn job, Pads. I know he was part of it obviously when they got Kevin Durant. And then obviously Mike Dunleavy Jr.'s come along. That hasn't looked too great as far from what I can tell with the Warriors. It's a bit iffy. So I'm not too high on Mike Dunleavy Jr. I mean Bob Myers, yeah, he's a big name, but I still don't see him as the one that was responsible for building that championship core. I mean, he may have built the roster around the core, but I don't think he was responsible for getting the likes of Steph, Clay, and Dre. Man, this shit is real. Like, hey, cheers again, Bulls Nation. Yes, Paddy, it's the last of the Hennessy, so I'm gonna enjoy that shit tonight. And the Bulls actually did it. The Bulls did it. Now, the new front office is going to inherit quite a they've got some decisions to make, and they're going to have a whole bunch of salary cap freedom to make some decisions. Obviously, we got our first round pick coming up in this draft now. Whether we stay at 9, we move into the top 4, please, to the basketball gods to please Adam Silver to reward the Chicago Bulls of finally ridding themselves of AK and Marc Eversley. Please give the Bulls a top 4 pick, even preferably top 2. You know, we can get either AJ DeBancer or Caleb Wilson. Those guys are my top 2. AJ DeBancer, Caleb Wilson. Fact check. Larry Riley laid the Warriors foundation. So thank you, Pads. Appreciate that. Don't know who Larry Riley is, but hey, obviously the guy who was in charge before Bob Myers. But yeah, my top 4 in this draft, in probably in this specific order: AJ DeBancer, Caleb Wilson. I mean, Caleb Wilson's a fucking psycho. He's a psycho. Like, being guilty, and me and Guilty spoke about this on Bulls Without Borders a number of weeks ago, and in the Bulls Discord when it was happening. That first Carolina Duke game, just see the look on Caleb Wilson's in his eyes. That man got some Kevin Garnett psycho about him, and his game's got some Kevin Garnett tendencies about him as well. Like, I see a lot of Kevin Garnett in Caleb Wilson, and hey, I would love to have that man in Chicago. After that, Darren Peterson. I mean, the talent is undeniable. Mate, it's just a matter of getting his body right, and then Cameron Boozer. Um, yes, being a Carolina fan, fuck Duke, and personally, I'm really just not that high on Cameron Boozer. To me, he's just a younger version of Nikola Vucevic with a little bit more a little bit more skill. He, I'm not that high on Cameron Boozer. Like, hey, if we land Cameron Boozer in the draft, hey, I'm not going to complain whatsoever. I'll be like, cool, we got our franchise player going forward, but if we got the number 1 pick, that's my order of preference. But hey, that's just me personally. He was the GM when Myers took the job. Riley moved into the director of scouting position. Just looked it up. So a bit like when Puppet Man Garth Foreman moved in, became the scout of the New Orleans Pelicans after we sacked his ass 6 years ago. Yeah, Michael Reinsdorf is going to be holding a virtual press conference sometime probably in the next 12 hours or so. I'm not. I did see what time it was, but I can't. Don't see it at the moment. Yeah, there is hope for the future of the Chicago Bulls. Finally, now I will say this when it comes to the roster. As much as I love Marcus Buzelis and Josh Giddey, if the new front office decides that it is best to move off of both of those players or one of them, but they get the right deal, I will be okay with the Bulls moving off of Marcus Buzelis and or Josh Giddey. Because at the end of the day, I want my team to be looking towards the future and getting this right. Maybe hire Tim Legler. I know you're a big Hey, Tim Legler's a man. That dude's That guy is smart, and I mean that's a big coup for CHGO to have Tim Legler make occasional guest appearances on that show. Because Legler is a very smart dude. He I would happily have him as part. If they could even just have him as part of the panel to help select the new VP and general manager, I will take that. I will take that because at least you know you're going to get a smart man helping make decisions rather than John Paxson. Which now I did see something. Was it John Paxson, Pat Connolly, JJ Polk, and some other guy are going to be leading uh, the basketball operations decisions while during the search. Please tell me that John Paxson is not going to be part of the search. Help run things day to day while you conduct the search, but do not have John Paxson as part of the search. Please. I mean, the man should not even still be even in the building. He just shouldn't be. Man, man again, I'm in absolute shock. This is a glorious day for Chicago Bulls. I mean, even like shout out Big Dave, like posting all over Twitter, like what an amazing day. We all needed that Bulls Nation. There is still a ton of work to do, but taking the time to enjoy this was necessary. We're going to get back to it. See you all tomorrow. Tons of stuff on the way from CHGO Bulls. There's plenty of excitement going around Bulls Nation right now. Plenty of excitement getting around Bulls Nation, and rightfully so. Reinsdorf needs to get this right. He has to get. They need to get this next hire correct because this is going to set up the next 10 years of this franchise. Now you got a clean slate in the salary cap. What $65 million in true cap space this season. We've got all our first round picks coming forward. We may have that Portland pick coming up this year. You've got to get this right. You've got to get this hire correct. Like you cannot mess this up whatsoever. And shout out Zero Freddy. He's put a bit of a list together of AKME's failures. Drafting Patrick Williams at number 4, like passing up on the likes of Tyrese Halliburton, and I think Tyrese Maxey was at pick 20 in that draft. Then doubling down on that mistake and re-signing Patrick Williams for 5 years, $90 million. There was nothing. There was no reason whatsoever to give Patrick Williams 5 years, $90 million and guaranteed, and a player option. Trading Lowry, Gafford for relative garbage. Well, DJJ gave us a couple of serviceable years, but but then it's taken possibly 3 years for that Portland pick to convey. Daniel Gafford we traded away and we got Daniel Tice, Troy Brown Jr., former 36ers legend. Did I really just call him a 36ers legend, Pads? I know you're probably going to slap me for that one. Actually, would have been probably his defense would have been handy in the finals in that championship series. Like, let's be honest. Who else we get in that one? Fuck knows, and who cares? Because that's just the crappy value we got back for Daniel Gafford. No additional draft assets in the Caruso trade when Giddy's value was at an all-time low. He's See that again. That still annoys me a bit. He had a bad series, and people still tend to forget or just ignore the fact that other guys in on that team were shooting the ball like shit from the outside as well. But no, let's just pick on Josh Giddey. And yes, he was coming off the. Now, if you want to put that on the back of, yeah, he was just going through or coming out the back of that controversy with with the girl, and then that playoff series, then yeah, I can see why you say that was an all-time. His value was an all-time low. Alex Caruso was coming into free agency. He was 30 plus years old. Josh Giddey was a 22-year-old point guard. Both teams won that trade. I mean, I don't. You can argue that they should have got at least a second round pick along to come along with Josh Giddey. At the end of the day, that deal was a win-win for both teams. Bulls got their point guard of the future. It's up to the new front office to decide, hey, is he going to be part of that future? And if he goes, it is what it is. But that deal was a win-win. Drafting Dalen Terry over Walker Kessler and Christian Brown. Yeah, that was. I still remember sitting in my car watching the draft, and Kelder is not a reliable source. Really, dude? You're gonna use casual Kelder? The Come on, man. I know you're trying to get a rise out of me. Man, sitting in my ute on a break, listening to the draft. Yeah. And then Chicago Bulls select Dalen Terry, and my first reaction was, who the fuck was Dalen Terry? Who the fuck is Dalen Terry? Yes, there was some. Yeah, you know. Walker Kessler. Now I didn't know much about him, but hey, getting another center in that you could have moved off of Nikola Vucevic earlier. Christian Brown, outside shooter, played a key part in the Nuggets championship. The Vucevic trade. Yep, 2 first-round picks. Otto Porter Jr. We got back Nikola Vucevic and Al-Farouq Aminu. And then they also doubled down by giving Vucevic adding a third year to an extension. Signing Javon Carter for 3 years. Now, I'm going to put my hand up straight away and go, yep, I was wrong about that deal. I thought Javon Carter was going to come in and be the starting point guard, and Kobe White would be the backup point guard. Yep, I was wrong. My bad. I fucked up. Holding on to Levine, Caruso, DeRozan, Kobe, and Ayo too long. I personally think they should have still just held on to Ayo Dosunmu. Yeah, you can definitely argue that they held on to Levine, Caruso, DeRozan, and Kobe way too long. That's definitely plausible. Not moving Lonzo for a first at last year's trade deadline. Well, the first mistake they made with Lonzo Ball, and it's not technically Lonzo's fault because this is what he was out injured, was not pivoting away off of that team after that injury, when you could see that Lonzo was going to be gone for a while. Now, should they have traded Lonzo Ball at last year's trade deadline for the deal that was it Memphis took, which ultimately led to them getting Cedric Howard? Or put Memphis in a position to get Cedric Howard. Yes, they should have done that deal. Absolutely should have done that trade. But hey, Isaac Okoro, not exactly. Not even gonna answer that. Playing Kobe and I on the Tuesday before the trade deadline. Well, more so Kobe, because he was still dealing with the calf strain, and then they allowed him to play against, I think it was Minnesota. It was either Minnesota or Milwaukee. I think it might have been Milwaukee. I can't remember. And then they trade him to Charlotte, and then obviously we got back three first round picks, and then had to give back three, excuse me, 3 second round picks that we got in that deal, and had to hand back one of those picks to Charlotte because the calf injury was not disclosed. And you wonder why I've only invited you on once. Taking on the Albatross immediate contract in the Boots deal, which forced the Bulls to include Thad Young in the DeRozan deal. Thad later flipped for a first by the Spurs. Yeah, that's just bad asset management. Yeah, that's just Arturas Karnisovas. Passing on the Pelicans trade offer in the 2025 draft, where there's nothing concrete confirmed that the Bulls were actually offered that deal. It's just speculation because like Joe Dumars was asked who did he contact, and he said everyone. Well, everyone apparently didn't actually include Chicago because no one liked dealing with the Arturas Karnisovas. Firing Peter Patton, yeah, that was a big fuck up. That was a big mistake, and basically because Peter Patton wasn't a yes man to Arturas Karnisovas. I mean, you look at the work that Peter Patton had done with Josh Giddey. Now, Josh Giddey's one of his biggest weaknesses in his game was his 3-point shooting. Look where look where he's gotten to with his 3-point shooting since we had Peter Patton. He built it up to 37% last year. I think he's still sitting around that 36%, 36.7% at the moment. We looked at it real quick. 3-point percentage says 36.4%. Last year was at 37.8%. His 3-point shooting has dropped off in the last few weeks, mostly due to that hamstring strain, and he's dealing with that. Cutting Max Strus. Well, Max Strus, yeah, you had him in the gym, and he was recovering from a torn ACL, and he was a two-way contract player. Who was to say? Who knew that this was the type of player that Max Strus was going to turn into? He had a two-way contract player, tear his ACL, and you released him. At the time, big fucking deal. Signing Goran Dragic, or as C-Ray Fred likes to call him, Goran Tragic. Patrick Beverley and Javon Carter to take away minutes from Kobe White. Yeah, it was bad. That was bad. We ended up releasing Dragic. That's what just after the trade deadline that season. We also had Andre Drummond, who I liked that signing, and I wanted the Bulls to try and get him the year before. So yeah, so the Bulls will hold a virtual media availability with Michael Reinsdorf at 3 p.m. on Tuesday. So, what time are we in Chicago as we speak? It is 4:54 a.m. Chicago time at the time of this live stream. So what? Another 8 hours until Michael Reinsdorf's talk. So I'll be well, I'm not getting up early to watch it. That's for damn sure. So I got work in the morning. But I'll definitely be catching up when I do get up and see what he's got to say. And hopefully Michael Reinsdorf will give us a bit of a process. Will give us an idea on what the process is going to be, how deep this search for a new front office is going to be. Will it just be they'll sign the VP of basketball operations and allow him to fill out the remaining of the staff, be the general manager, and let him make the decision on Billy Donovan? Yeah, you definitely know that the guys are going to watch it. Hayes, Phil, Guilty, I mean, you know, all the guys at CHGO, Pet, Gottlieb, Big Dave, they're all going to be watching it. Yep. Bulls without borders for life. For damn certain. And shout out to my Bulls without borders crew. That is the best group of guys going around in the podcasting game, and I'm privileged to be considered part of it, and I'm wanted as part of it. So I mean, I'm just some random down down in Australia, just who just loves his team, and this is the only reason why I do a podcast on it. And yes, I haven't done one for 3 weeks. Not Whole Lotta Bull anyway. but this is the reason I just love this team and I just love talking Chicago Bulls basketball. But yeah, Pads. Before I wrap it up, do you got any last thoughts? And I'll share on the screen. I'll keep gibbering away with some bullshit until you give me an answer on that one. So yeah, as a North Carolina fan, I am kind of bummed they didn't wait for Billy Donovan. Kind of bummed. I'm definitely bummed as a Bulls fan that North Carolina didn't wait for Billy Donovan. Hey, they got themselves a hell of a coach in Mike Malone. So the North Carolina fan in me is still very happy, but would have been nice if they had taken Billy and just waited just that little bit longer. Come on, Pat, hurry up. Not end the stream. All right, let's see if there's anything else quickly to see. This is why I don't do live streams very often because, to be honest, I don't really come prepared, and I like to just go off the cuff with stuff. Um, yeah, people, Balls Without Borders this weekend. The Crew live, no holds barred. Yeah, we're definitely going to get into it this weekend on Balls Without Borders. That is going to be a hell of an episode. So I'm definitely looking forward to Saturday morning for that one. All right, guys. Basically, it's only been Paddy in the live feed. I'm sure some people will tune in a little bit later after the fact. So for those who are watching this after the fact, I do appreciate you for tuning in. Pads, thanks for jumping in the comments and keeping me company. This is generally why I don't do live streams because I just do pre-recorded. Because I am so lonely. I am so lonely. Ready. That's it, Bulls Nation. Don't forget you guys can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Troy. Follow the show at Whole Lotta Bull. Pads, I'm not going to do your Twitter handle because I'm going to fuck it up. So until next time, Bulls fans, sing. Be good. Peace.